So I'm going to start with their takeoff on P.F. Chang's chicken lettuce wraps, but I found them through a website called Damn Delicious. She's got some amazing recipes, so I will make sure and link it from her website so you can see exactly what's what. She just serves them with the lettuce and the meat has diced water chestnuts in it, and that's it, I think. But I do it a little differently. I add a hybrid of other things to it. I add some things that I would normally have found on a Cheesecake Factory menu with their lettuce wraps. So I add Thai marinated cucumbers, I add sesame bean sprouts, and some matchstick carrots, and is that it? I can't remember. I think that might be it. Doesn't really matter. I just am going to show you what I was doing to the cucumbers so you'll know what the deal is with those. First, I'm going to put start the sauce going for the cucumbers. So I've just got 1/3 cup of rice vinegar. Find it in the Asian section of the grocery store. I've got 1/4 cup of sugar. A 1/4 cup of water. Sorry. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And a 1/4 teaspoon black pepper. And all I'm going to do is put this on a back burner on low and just get it started so it can be heating up. And it only needs to heat up long enough to dissolve the sugar and salt into the vinegar and water. So I'm just going to start it on low. I have got some water here that I started getting hot because of how much you have to get hot for the noodles. For my noodles, for the sesame noodles that we're going to have with it too. Sesame noodles, that was the other thing, sesame noodles. And I have got ground chicken and a little bit of olive oil in my wok so that I can make sure the chicken won't stick to the surface of the wok. So that's going to start browning up. And I've gone ahead and opened up my diced water chestnuts. I think in the recipe it says to get just whole water chestnuts and dice them up. This is so much faster. And you can buy them this way, so why not? And I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. See if I can turn this around.
Hi.
Hi. And there's McKenna saying hi. I just have an English cucumber that I sliced in half long ways. And I know they're seedless, but the middle of it gets a little bit mushy with something like this. So I just took a spoon and scooped out the middle of it. And now all I'm gonna do is take it in half again and just cut it up to put over here in this bowl, waiting for the sauce that we just put on the back burner, kind of literally, but not actually, to get ready to pour over them. Once the sugar and the salt dissolves into the vinegar and water, I'm just going to pour them over the cucumbers, put the lid on top of the bowl, and put them in the refrigerator until we're ready to eat them with our chicken lettuce wraps. And I'm kind of do the same thing with the bean sprouts, but I'm not going to start those exactly yet because the bean sprouts will get a little mushy if they sit too long. And you won't believe how easy this is to do. The only problem is that it's so many things going on at the same time to have to keep track of, but other than that, it's very easy to do. I like this meal again because everybody gets to choose how they want to eat it. Always popular at the Thornton house. Okay, and I could not find the lettuce that I wanted today. So I had to get just romaine hearts, and I'm just going to cut those up and make do. Normally you would get one of those plastic clamshells with the butter lettuce in it with the little root on the bottom, and take all the leaves off and wash them, but can't do that, so we're gonna make do. Okay, now let's get back to the action on the stove. The hard part's the camera work. I think I need to hire somebody to do the camera work for me. All right. I know it's a little harder to see over the higher sides of the wok, but it won't take very long for this chicken to get brown. I'm actually tripling the recipe. I'm hopeful that we will get 2 nights out of it. That doesn't always follow, because everybody loves this stuff so much. I guess if it's Asian cooking and you can eat it in a bowl or on a piece of lettuce, we're a big fan at our house. I think I had lettuce wraps for the first time at the Cheesecake Factory. Could not believe how tasty they were. They're so good. And I don't think, I'm trying to think if I had noodles with it there. I don't think I did. Maybe I did. It doesn't really matter. But my kids need a little bit more than the protein and the vegetables, so there you have it. And it looks like the rice wine vinegar and the sugar are starting to work together back there and dissolve. So, away is wine. Oh, you're gonna have to ask Dad. I'm not sure if I know.
Nobody knows the password.
Nobody knows the password. These are the problems we have in our lives.
Dad tried like 3 times.
Okay.
And Jack
Now,
tried.
again, we've established the beauty about this is that it's super easy. So, I don't add onion to it. You're supposed to dice up an onion and put it in with your chicken and get it all cooked together. I add the green onions on top later because I don't have onion eaters in my family, really. I'm the onion eater, so I will add it at the end. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start the bean sprouts while we're waiting on this to cook. Although it's talking to me like maybe it's cooking faster than I thought. Turn it down just a little bit. I love the mung bean sprouts, which in Wegmans they sell them in a bag like this. I think at Harris Teeter they sell them in a little clamshell package that says mung bean sprouts on them. I like these because they're already all clean and nice, and they tend to last a little bit longer. All we're going to do for the bean sprouts is we're going to put some toasted sesame oil in this little pan here, and some sesame seeds, and I'm trying to think of some garlic. Hold on just a second. And I will post all these recipes when I'm done. Oh no, tablespoon of sesame oil, a tablespoon of soy sauce. So, I've got some toasted sesame oil. And actually, it also requires a teaspoon of the sesame seed. And I'll tell you this, if you go in the spice section at the grocery store and you try to buy sesame seeds, you're going to pay a ton of money for a tiny little bottle. If you go into the international foods aisle and look with all the other Asian inspired products, you're going to get this much for about 1/3 of the price. So there's that. Okay, I'm going to do a tablespoon of the toasted sesame oil and a tablespoon of my handy dandy low sodium soy sauce, which I think we established is my favorite. I'm going to put that in there with it. And then you add a teaspoon of the sesame seeds. And I'm adding it in first so that they can toast a little bit while the oil's getting hot. I'm going to put it on medium heat. Check on my chicken here. And my vinegar back there is starting to talk to me. It's getting bubbly and the pepper's dancing around, and it looks like it's just about all dissolved. The key to making sure that your sugar gets dissolved into whatever it is you're doing is making sure that it cooks long enough once it comes up to boiling. And you don't have to go crazy. It doesn't have to be some huge hard boil that you're going to have everything boil over and ruin your cooktop. But a minute or two hanging out there should get the sugar well and truly dissolved into it. The vinegar helps because of the acidity of the vinegar to begin with. Now, if you were only doing what the recipe calls for, which is 1 pound of this ground chicken, it would take you no time at all to get this stuff browned up. It really doesn't take long. So this is one of those meals I have on my list of things I can do on a game night or a practice night, because you can cook it up early, quickly, and have it room temperature if you would like. It travels well if you want to take all the pieces with you to a field. Or you can have part of your people eat it when it gets done and keep part of it for the next crew to come in after a game or a practice, and it doesn't hurt it any. It holds up really well. Plus, everybody loves it. Okay. I was listening to it talking to me earlier, so I know it's been going for a little while, so I'm just going to go ahead and take this off the heat, and I'm going to pour it over the cucumbers and put the cucumbers to the side. So, just going to pour this over. And going to stir it around. And you can see the pepper in there. I'm just going to close it up, put it to the side. Now this is starting to talk to me too. It's starting to make some noise. And the seeds are getting a little bit of color to them. And I mean a little bit, not much. It doesn't have to be like they have to get crazy brown or anything. The other thing that I like to serve with this, I think I mentioned earlier, is the carrots. And again, I use those matchstick carrots because they're so easy and they go on the lettuce wraps really easily and really well. Aha, do you hear it? It's talking. I'll turn it back just a little bit so I don't burn all this. It's got some good color on the seeds. And all I'm going to do is put bean sprouts in. And you can see it calls for about 1.5 cups. I'm sort of eyeballing it. That's pretty good. Of course I got here without my spoon. Now all I'm going to do is just stir them around a little bit. Make sure that they are getting the sauce distributed over them and that they're getting just cooked long enough to get a little tender. I like them with a little crunch, so I don't cook them very long. I mainly want them to get a little warm and get the sauce on them. And I can definitely see why on all those cooking shows there's a sous chef, because trying to keep all this stuff going at the same time and make it where everybody can see and have everything measured out or make it easy to measure out is not all that easy. don't know if you can see it's got some color to it. And it's not going to stay here very much longer at all before I'll take this up and put it to the side as well. And the chicken is almost done. Now clearly if we were doing ground beef or ground pork, we would drain it. But part of the beauty of the chicken is it's very, very lean, and you have to add oil to the pan to begin with to make sure that you're not going to burn everything in it with the chicken, because not very much cooks out of it. But if it looks like enough is cooked out that it's going to be soupier than I want it to be, I'll usually drain just a little bit of the liquid off, but that's totally a judgment call for you. It is however you want it, cooking in your kitchen for your people or for yourself. Now, it really doesn't have that much in it. We're going to put some garlic in it. We're going to put some sriracha in it. Love sriracha. We're going to put some ginger in it, and I'll tell you about one of my favorite products that makes ginger so much easier. You knew I was going to have an easy way to do it, right? And it looks like the bean sprouts are probably, yep, they're smelling pretty good. They've got a real nutty flavor to them anyway with the toasted sesame oil, obviously even more so, but they're done. And that's what they look like. So we're just going to turn the heat off. I'm going to put these to the side, waiting on everything else to get ready. Okay, now the recipe calls for, again, you to cook the chicken, and it does say you can drain any excess fat. I gotta tell you, one time I forgot to put the olive oil in the pan, and I just had the chicken in there, and some of the chicken burnt to the bottom of the pan, and there was really almost nothing in it. This has a little more liquid because I went ahead and made sure I added enough olive oil to accommodate the 3 pounds of ground chicken that I've got in here, but it's not tons. So I'm probably just going to spoon some of it out, turn the heat off for a second while I'm getting all the other stuff added to it. Then I'll turn the heat back up some while we can get the flavors incorporated. It doesn't have to be served hot. I think I just said that. So I don't know if you can see, there is more liquid than there normally would be because I've got 3 pounds in here. But all I'm going to do is take this over to the sink and drain it real quick. Drain a little bit of it off real quick. Hang tight. I guess I also need a cameraman too, because this is going to be off camera, but I'm just draining it a little bit. And the chicken actually looks like a really good color. It is not as pale as it was, clearly. It's got a nice light brown color to it. And we're going to add hoisin sauce to it, so the hoisin sauce is going to is a really dark color, so it's going to look even more so once we get it to this chicken. Okay, now, here we go. I just drained off a little bit, and now I'm going to start adding the other stuff in. I'm going to turn it down some here. Okay, now I'm going to add garlic. We established how much I like this garlic, and it's 2 cloves of garlic for 1 pound. So it's going to be 2, 4, 6 for 3 pounds. It's also got hoisin sauce in it, which I just buy the Kikkoman hoisin sauce. That's what I can find easily in the grocery store. And it's going to get 3/4 of a cup of this because it normally would take 1/4. So, and I haven't forgotten about the water for my noodles. It's still hanging out back there, and it's still ready to boil as soon as I pump the heat back up to it. Another favorite tool is this little spatula, skinny spatula. That'll fit down inside of jars. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to open another jar. I make this so much, I usually have some in the refrigerator. So, just open another jar here. And again, I found this in the International Foods section. So I'm just gonna keep going here until I get 3/4 of a cup. Now, I'm going to add the hoisin sauce with the garlic and the chicken. And I took the heat down to medium-low, but you can, whatever your comfort level is, if you want to have it on low or turn it completely off while you're getting all this together, you don't have to worry about it burning. Go ahead and do it. It's your show. All right. The next thing we're going to add to it is some soy sauce. And the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, so we're going to add 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After the soy sauce comes our rice wine vinegar. It only calls for a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. So we're going to hit it with 3 tablespoons because I'm doing the recipe times 3. And now, it calls for freshly grated ginger. Yeah, ginger, I love grating fresh ginger. You buy it in the little roots and you can tear off a piece and peel it and shred it with a grater. It's no big deal, except that it takes forever. And then I forget I have it in the bottom of my produce drawer and I end up letting it rot in there. I don't know, I just forget that I have it. So, this is a great product. This is minced ginger. I got this at Wegmans, but you can get it many other places. I got it in the International Foods aisle, and that's what all it is minced ginger. So I'm just gonna open this up. It's just like that. And it calls for a tablespoon. Let me just rinse this off real quick. All right, so if it calls for a tablespoon of minced ginger, making sure I'm right here, yeah, we're gonna do 3. Because I'm doing it times 3. So, got my ginger. Gosh, that smells amazing. I love the way fresh ginger smells. Now, sriracha. If hot stuff is not your thing, add less. Don't add any. It's not going to matter. The ginger is going to give it a little bit of heat, but just you do you. So, normally, we'd add a tablespoon of sriracha. All of my guys are not super thrilled with everything being really hot. So I'm not going to triple this amount. I've got this I can add at the table if I want. So I'm just going to add just a little over a tablespoon. Okay. Now, I'm going to mix this around, get it all incorporated. And I have got these diced water chestnuts hanging out here. Again, if you don't like water chestnuts, don't put the water chestnuts in. There literally is no lettuce wrap police. Hi, Jen. Okay. Now it's all mixed around in there. And I've still got a little bit of the liquid going, just because I'm letting it sort of hang out and stay moist while I'm doing all this. So I'm going to now just empty the water chestnuts in here. My family really likes water chestnuts, so they're all cool with me tripling the water chestnuts. It's got good crunch, and the water chestnuts are pretty mild tasting, so they get the flavors all in them really well. They soak it up. Okay, so it just looks like a mishmash here of brown stuff and lighter brown stuff. That's no big deal. Okay, now we have done the cucumbers. They're all marinating in the rice wine vinegar, sugar, salt and pepper mixture that we cooked on the stove. The bean sprouts are waiting, all nice and toasty. I bought the matchstick carrots already done, so I don't have to julienne carrots, so that's easy and done. The last thing I'm gonna do are my noodles, and the best thing about this dish too is that you don't have to have, I happen to have some lo mein noodles, found some lo mein noodles. You don't have to have those. If you have angel hair pasta, thin spaghetti hanging out in your pantry, use that. It just has to be a thin noodle. And I'm going to mix up the sauce. It's a Pioneer Woman recipe for the sesame noodles. And since they're only going to take 4 minutes, I think the angel hair would take a little bit longer and the thin spaghetti would take a little bit longer, but these only take 4 minutes. So I'm going to wait to bump the heat back up and get it boiling again until I get done with my sauce. Otherwise, it's going to be done ahead of me. The hardest part about cooking is getting everything done at the same time. This I'm just mixing a measuring cup. I think we've established that's one of my favorite ways of doing it. All right, I've got a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. So, just gonna get that going. 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Gonna take this heat down a little bit more. And 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, I'm gonna run over and get another tablespoon since my tablespoon got a little wet and gross. Again, sous chef would have been a lot nicer there. 2 tablespoons of sugar. Four cloves of garlic. Happy I left my handy dandy garlic out. 4 cloves of garlic is going to be 2 teaspoons. Two tablespoons of rice vinegar. Three tablespoons of sesame oil. Again, just the international foods aisle. Now the next one, I have to admit, the only reason I had it in my pantry was because I was looking for something else and got it by accident the last time I was at the grocery store. But now it's going to come in handy. It is hot chili oil. So it's just hot, spicy pepper stir-fry oil. Just add a little bit of kick. So I'm just going to add half a teaspoon of that, so not very much. These are going to be very luscious. Okay, and then we're going to do 4 tablespoons of canola oil. So I'm going to hit it with a different kind of oil. All right. I hope we can see that. All right. Now, I'm going to take the heat back up on my water so it can start boiling. And I will start getting these unpackaged so that I can Just pop them in when the water starts going. I'm going to hit this with my whisk and just whisk it around. This also calls for green onions that you can put on the sesame noodles. Again, I'm the only onion person that really, really likes onions, so I'll just slice up some green onions to have available for me to put on top because it is really good. And I'm going to start, and these are done. Like literally the only thing I have left to do is wash the lettuce leaves. That's it. And all I'm going to do is take a heart of romaine, I'm going to cut off the bottom, rinse off the leaves, and I'm going to cut the entire stalk in half and divide the leaves out so that people can just pick up a leaf and build it with the leaf. All right, that's starting to boil. So I'm going to do this. And what I usually do is simply put all of the options that people have for building their lettuce leaves out. I'm going to just put the cucumbers, the marinated cucumbers out. I'm going to put the sesame bean sprouts out. I'll put some more sriracha out in case anybody wants to hit it with a little more heat. I will put the carrots out. And that's become like a bunch of pickup sticks. All right. Hey, look at that. There's my sous chef. You want to be the sous chef?
What's the difference in a sous chef and a sweeper?
Well, you could be the sweeper. Sweeper works. All right, so I'm just going to stir them around in the water. And I've used buckwheat noodles. I've used soba noodles. I've used thin spaghetti, angel hair. I've used a bunch of different things. To do noodles like this doesn't make any difference. Set the timer for 4 minutes. And that's kind of it. I will post a picture of the finished product, but plating it is super easy. Everybody can do their own thing with it. And when these noodles get done, I'm just going to drain them and I'm going to dress them with this dressing. That's it. And it will all be good. So ask any questions. That was kind of harem scarum, but really, really, really favorite recipe. Everybody gets excited when they come in and smell this, and you can get all this stuff in the international food section of the grocery store. Nothing is truly exotic. So should be pretty easy. And I'll post a picture of it plated so you can see what it looks like on the lettuce. Thanks for watching.